Well, hello. Hello, Expedition Engineering. If you're new here, you have some catching up to do because we are building an epic hard dodger hardtop behemoth. Today we're working on these side curves. These curves will not only look super sexy and add a lot of protection from the sun and rain, in theory they should also make the entire hardtop significantly stiffer because of all of the vertical faces. I've been inside editing, but Jade has been out here getting this other curve. This side's all foamed up and Jade's been working on this side. It's amazing. Today we are glassing the curves. This is the final hardtop curve that we are glassing. There's a little more to do, but this is the last of these. Jade's getting all plastic wrapped.
So much more complicated doing the lamination actually on the boat.
Yeah, we actually care where the drips drip.
Yeah.
Nice. Jade did 99% of this and it came out amazing. Curves. This was the first side, and so there's definitely some more divots that'll have to get filled in with fairing filler. This was the second side was when I helped.
Oh shit.
And
You didn't help at all.
I helped by saying, maybe do it this way.
No, you didn't.
Okay, I didn't help.
Feels a lot like when I try to fit into my jeans during the holidays.
This is skinny jeans at Christmas.
Any jeans at Christmas.
All jeans are skinny jeans at Christmas. Wow. That was excessively fast. Fairing fillers mixed. I just stepped over on that side and I was gonna do the starboard side. And Jade looks at me, she goes, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Fairing fill in some of the cracks." She says, "Uh-huh. Aren't you worried it's gonna drip?" Right. That's why she's spending all this time masking the port side. So we could do this side first.
She's just trying to stay out of her way.
I was being so nice, staying out of her way while she worked over here. Yeah, it's one of those days. The gutter didn't come out perfectly shaped, so we're putting in a little bit of fairing filler that will then get squished into the perfect shape with a precision cut piece of tool foam. At least that's the goal. The curves are getting 4 layers of carbon fiber on the outside, which is tabbed onto the top, through the gutter, and then down the curve, which should make it all extremely rigid. We got all the layup done, and Jade is getting plastic on it now. And we heard thunder recently. We think it may have been a motorcycle. We think it might have been thunder though. So now it's a rush to try and get all this plastic smoothed out on here. This is the only plastic apparently we have left. And so we're trying to squeegee it to make it a nice smooth surface. And there are...
Not working at all. I'm about to scream.
Kind of like Dingo. Jade may be angry. That's a new. I've never seen this face. That was a new face.
I feel very strongly about how frustrating this is.
You can see the ripples in it here. I'll have to get sanded off. That's just because the plastic was a little wrinkly. But this is nice and solid now. It rained a ton. Yesterday was super stormy. Look at this water. Kind of crazy. We're getting the carbon laid up on this, so same as the other side. We'll make up some fairing filler, kind of fill in the cracks, make the radiuses. We already have the carbon fiber already cut and rolled, so that's ready to go. And we'll get it laid on.
I got some thumbnails.
We just finished. I didn't really film at all while we were doing it because we were here on our cardboard, but then there were drips of epoxy and we were wearing shoes, but then we'd have to take our shoes off to step into the cockpit, and so you just don't get to see what happened. But here, I'll show you. It's all laid up and plasticed, and now it's time for dinner. The sun is just starting to go down. Dingo says he needs to go on a walk. You go on a walk? Okay. I don't think we have talked about this at all. maybe very briefly, but has not been explained at all. We have one more leg going on this Dodger, and we are working that right now. Here's our legs upright. Somebody gave you the actual technical term. I can't remember what they were called though. The main beam leg with the main sheet arch coming to here, and then this will be the final window. There will be a window that goes right here, and then this is open.
And this is the most, I mean, probably the front's the most important window, but this one is super important because when you sit here on a crossing, this right here is what protects the actual seating area from sea spray and keeps you dry.
Yeah, we almost didn't do it because it doesn't need it necessarily as far as, you know, strength and everything like that. But yeah, when you sit here, even really anyone on this bench, a lot of the wind and spray and everything comes right here. And we realized that with our old Bimini, that we would often keep this piece right here, even though it didn't really look right and it was kind of weird. We'd often have that right there, and so we're adding that leg
Right now.
but right now. Jade has been working on I'm calling them B pillars. That's what these are, car terms. We decided to put a groove in this B pillar to run the wiring down. And it's just gonna be a small little 12-volt wire that runs down it, and just a single wire. So it won't have any of the solar panel wire. It won't be very big. It'll just be a very small wire. And so we decided we're just gonna coat this in epoxy on the inside.
I cannot think of the word for lack of foam. Brett, help. I can't think of the word for what these are. Troughs?
Yeah, the wire trough.
Wire troughs?
Conduits.
Conduits?
Yeah.
Space? Empty space where wires can therefore run. We need more sleep. But anyway, here we are. We're gonna have lighting that makes it bright and nice and easy to see, as lights do. Yeah, and we're also trying to get it set up so that we will have both white lights for when we're on anchor, just want to hang out in the cockpit, and red lights for when we're on passages and don't want to lose our night vision. That would be amazing. So this is for where the wires will run.
I just had to remember.
Oh my gosh, at least you're struggling with words too.
We talked a little bit about having red lights in the cockpit. How that can kind of actually be a bad thing
For navigation.
for navigation, because then it's really confusing. So maybe
That was my
So
question.
maybe we should actually consider doing a blue or a green.
Green is also a navigation color.
right. So
So
maybe a blue.
I was thinking blue,
Maybe a soft
but
blue.
most people use red or green, and like when you buy them at the marine stores, it's always red.
Right.
But like red is the
red-
port light, so
Yeah,
if
but
people
maybe
see the red
because-
cockpit, they might get confused about what direction that we're going, and I want your guys' input. What do you think? Should we do blue lights instead? Nobody else has ever had this conversation before. No cruisers have
definitely
ever
not
thought
on
about
every forum ever.
it. No, I'm sure it's not.
We definitely won't Google this.
We stay off of forums.
Actually.
We don't want to have
That part's true. So far, that's the first thing you said that's true.
Anyway, that being said, we've had a little bit of tequila tonight, and so that's probably why our English has gone, and our Spanish is probably bueno.
Jade ended up using 2 layers of S-Glass instead of just epoxy. Not because it was strictly necessary, but because it'll make the entire thing stronger, as well as making it even more waterproof where the wires will end up running. And because it's 4-ounce S-Glass, she can then just use a fresh razor blade to trim it all.
That looks good. Want to tell us what you're working on over here?
Yeah, I don't know if we talked about this really at all.
I don't think so.
These legs, when we built them, we spent days trying to get the angles just right of the very bottom of where the leg touches the deck. And then we got to the boat and we were slightly off. And so we got
Nope, that's not right. We weren't wrong. We didn't do it wrong. We changed our mind.
You're right. We had them more vertical
Yeah.
initially.
And
And
it made it look like a square.
Yeah.
It made our boat look like a loaf of Wonder Bread.
yeah. And so we got it here on the boat, realized, oh no, those need to be angled in. But then at that point, we'd already made the bottom and it's like, 2 inches thick of carbon. So we can't just redo it. So we angled it in exactly how we want. They're equal now. And now I am making up some epoxy with some carbon, and we're going to put it in there and squish it. And then this carbon will basically just add on to the bottom to make kind of just a wedge of just added on carbon. So then they are the exact angles that we need.
Super simple, super straightforward. When we angled it in, it didn't change it much, but it lifted the outside edge off like half an inch. You can't even tell from this distance with this camera. I'll go closer, but just half an inch. That will fill up the carbon to make it a little bigger. So, no biggie. Except
So it is
pain in the-
structural.
like
it is structural because it's going to have all of the load smashing down on that. So we are using carbon
yeah.
and epoxy.
We're obviously doing a fine, fabulous job and making it super strong. But a worthy effort to make the design look good. Okay, I'm
extremely necessary.
attempting to climb over here to show you guys. So this is it, and you can see how it's just tipped. It's not even fairing filler, it's just
straight carbon.
Straight carbon. It's a, what's the word? Shoot. What is it? Forged.
Ooh, yeah. We're making forged carbon.
It's a forged carbon base plate.
That's actually exactly what it is. Because, yeah, we're going to smash it down.
Who said I didn't have English?
I think that's a British term.
Damn it.
That's English.
They're not English. They're British.
So we propped it up. I had to use a crowbar to, like, prop it up because it's all connected now, so it doesn't want to twist.
Because it's so strong.
And then I cleaned the deck underneath it because for whatever reason we weren't foresightful enough to clean before we had put this on last time. Taped all around for in case when this forged carbon gets forged, it's going to ooze out. And I don't want to get that over the deck. Then waxed underneath it and the tape. Then because we only have 2 bolts in here, I put in 2 more bigger bolts. These are more the actual size we're going to use up in those holes. They don't have nuts on them. They're just up in there to keep those from getting filled up with this.
Delicious.
Already on the deck.
Oh no.
One of us might need to be on like acetone duty.
Yeah, we'll definitely be doing a cleaning session. I just want to show this. I'll take my glove. I just want to show the squishing. I think that'll be fun. Squish. Oh wow, that was not nearly as fun as I thought. Oh, here we go. Ooh, that's squishing. Really anticlimactic. Dang. Oh well.
Did it not really squish much?
It did, but like I thought it was gonna. I thought it was gonna like up the sides, and it did not.
And just kind of like.
Yeah. It's kind of a slow squish because it was so dense that it didn't pop down quickly.
Yeah.
It just lowered.
Yeah.
This thing is so strong. I was swinging on the side today because we were trying to see if I could go on the top. When we originally did the design and built it, we weren't ever intending it to have any force load, like force strength, there's a technical term for this that I don't know. Tell me the word for that. Point load. I didn't even need to ask the real engineers. I have you. Point load. We did not design it to have point load. So we weren't planning to ever walk up there or anything. And so all along we've been trying to figure out like, okay, well, like how are we going to do it when it comes time to do work on the top, install the solar panels? Like, so we won't be able to go
solar
up
panels, to fair it, to paint it.
As it turns out, I can totally walk on it.
Well, crawl at least.
I can shimmy across it like I'm on thin ice, but it doesn't break, and it doesn't even wobble, and it will make installing the solar panels much easier. So
much. Do some
cinching.
forging.
Ooh, now we're getting some squish. It's pushing out the epoxy. It's gonna be a nice. It's like a vacuum.
Yeah, let me show my plugs. Do I have a headlamp? No. Do you have a headlamp?
Nope, but I can go get you one.
You know what this looks like? It looks like isn't the right word.
Like a bathtub plug or like a sink plug?
That's a better thing.
What are you thinking?
I don't know, just like this tassel dangling down. So, you know, you just pull this and, you know, it might leak out a little.
Well, you know the technique?
Do you have to, like, twist?
You have to really get your hand out of the way, otherwise it'll fall on your hand.
I don't need to know something like that.
You didn't pull your hand away fast enough. You're totally not good at that.
Oh, I got epoxy all over me. Careful, it has epoxy on it.
Oh, does it actually?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I will be careful. Thanks for that information. But also, if you had moved your hand out of the way, like I suggested.
You're absolutely right.
Sometimes when we're editing, well, Brett does all of these videos, but on the other channel and in the past, I'm tempted to just leave in these really long, boring sections into the video. Like it would be so funny to just keep in 10 minutes of Brett tightening these bolts. You know, and then when you're like, why is it taking you guys so long to finish this project? And then like
you'll understand.
10 minutes instead of a 10-minute video of like weeks of work, like 10 minutes of
of getting one bolt off.
I'm getting one bolt off.
I should do that for one of my videos.
Yeah.
Should be like, come
Just at
with
the
me to do
end.
this project, and the video ends up being like 6 hours long to change one little thing.
And then you spend most of it trying to get a broken
Or trying to
bolt.
find the right size, whatever. Like,
And then going back for a different
back
wrench.
and forth and back and forth. Speaking of, I need a 10mm wrench. That's too big. I'll take the ratchet.
Alright then. Okay, it's razor blade time. Let's do this. Do you know what I did with all the new razor blades? Here's your boy. Beautiful. So smooth. I mean, it's textured, but like smooth.
Meanwhile, while Jade is razor blade trimming, I get working on the starboard leg. Same process as before. Now that I've done it once, I'm giving it a go without Jade. Lift up the leg, smash in a bunch of top strand, lower the leg, and then clean up all the excess goop.
Okay. The question is, will this support my weight so I can work up here?
You're gonna go on the aft section, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I can climb up it myself, but maybe so. You just kind of watch the hard top.
Stay aft.
What?
Stay aft.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Yep.
It's not bending or anything?
Nope.
Okay. Do you want to hand me the rack?
Yep.
Cool.
Shockingly, we still haven't connected the huge middle section of this hardtop. It's just being held up by a couple inches tabbed onto the front and rear on the underside. So to remedy that, we sent Jade up top to clean with acetone, then we laid out some clean plastic. Then cutting the large strips of carbon, wetting them out, and using those pieces to permanently connect the top. Finally, front and then rear, after metal rollering out any bubbles, we squeegee down plastic to get out the excess resin and let it all cure overnight. And I have to say, these pieces came out beautifully and shouldn't take really any fairing to finish them off. It's time to install our gussets. So these are going to go in the corners up here on the rear part, which is going to help a lot with the load just kind of going side to side, especially with the dinghies hanging there, wanting it to go sideways, and should just kind of make everything a lot more rigid. So I got these all shaped. I'm going to glue them up in there, and then we will wrap carbon around them and put them up. They're really light, and it's just foam, obviously, but then we're going to put quite a bit of carbon on there to make it nice and solid. These gussets were something we always planned on doing, but we just weren't sure how we were going to do them. We glued up these test pieces and let it be for a couple days just to make sure we liked the look. Meanwhile, we started laying carbon on the inside of the starboard curve.
It's looking good.
We put 2 layers of the thick carbon and then a layer of S-glass, the super thin, like 4 ounce. It's basically peel ply that stays on. It looks amazing.
That looks great. That's great.
And then after sleeping on it, we decided we do love the look and design of the gussets and made it permanent. The B-pillar legs are complete. They've been trimmed down, the outside of the conduit epoxied on, and now they're getting wrapped in carbon. I'm going to leave the sections where they mount to the hardtop and to the deck because I'm not sure if it's going to need to get trimmed or adjusted quite yet. But once we do a ridiculous amount of test fitting, we do one of the hardest things and drill more holes into the deck for the B-pillar legs to mount to.
Oh, beautiful. That's perfect. Yeah, and it's already right by all the wires up here. So easy.
Final big layup day. All we have left is this big curve. We've been working on this window. It's been hanging over our heads. Okay, middle section is officially getting connected 100% officially. A little bit of fairing filler to go in the small gap in between the panels, and then carbon to connect to all the pieces. And honestly, it's actually terrifying how strong all of this has been with how little carbon has been holding all these pieces together. But obviously it should now be insanely stronger with all of it connected. There it is. All laid up and plasticed and squeegee as much as we could. The top is starting to get warm because the sun's out. It came out really good.
Well done.
So now we just have this layup, this curve, and then to get these two things finalized. It is a little bit windy today, but it's supposed to be stormy the next couple days, and everything is prepped to do this final big layup. The plastic is cut, the carbon is cut, the S-glass is cut. I just cleaned it, and so it is time to just do it. The wind always makes it a little more tricky because it's a little annoying being in the wind, dealing with the carbon, trying not to get epoxy drips everywhere, but
Maybe should we put up a tarp and block the wind?
I just don't think we can very easily because we need to be able to lay up around.
Wait.
So I think it's not that windy. It's not like it was.
It's just like a little bit grating after a while working in the wind.
Yeah. It's interesting. Sailing in the wind is fine. Like, no big deal. But being stationary in the wind, maybe that's something. We just need to use the wind.
I also don't like sailing in the wind.
You like sailing in no wind?
You can't sail in the wind. It's just when my hair gets in my face that I don't like.
That's valid.
I need to cut it all out.
Hi, good boy. Fairing filler to help smooth out. Jade's mixing up epoxy. The wind is winding.
The wind is getting worse.
The trepidation to do this final piece has been a really interesting mind game. I think it's because we know that once we do this last big curve, the hardtop is basically done. And while we are ready to move on to the next chapter in our life, it also means that the structure of this hardtop, the strength, the design, all of it is done. And that's as good as it's ever going to be. And we hope it's good enough. We are trying not to lose our minds right now because we wet out all the carbon and wet out up here with the fairing filler on there. And then I went through and I added a little more epoxy in some places just to make sure the foam was wet enough to make it stick. The thing is, because we're laying it on basically a vertical and sometimes upside down like overhang, it needs to be pretty tacky for it to stick. And that fresh epoxy I put on isn't tacky, but the carbon is tacky, and so it doesn't want to stick. It keeps falling down and we're losing our minds. Hopefully this gets tacky before this cures, but it's gonna be close. Whoops. It's been a while since we've had a fail this bad. I know that I mixed the epoxy correctly, and I know I cleaned the surfaces. But even with waiting for things to get really, really tacky, the carbon just would not stick. Sticky gloves mixed with constant wind in my face and the boat rocking like crazy just about made me lose my mind. It was close.
This is horribly frustrating.
Sometimes the epoxy and the carbon, and the foam, and the weather just doesn't work. So it's now epoxied, and we will just have to let that cure all the way and scuff it up and try again another day. It's a huge bummer. It's a waste of epoxy and a waste of carbon that we are low on already.
This did not work out well.
But it just didn't work. We tried multiple different attempts. We tried putting on some fresh epoxy. We tried letting it get tacky.
We ran out of day.
And then, yeah, now the sun's getting too low, so we, in theory, the fresh epoxy we put on will get tacky, but by the time it gets tacky, the sun's going to be down, which means it's going to get dewy. So, just bad. Yep. Which means we're going to have to do some sanding. Not a lot of sanding, just enough to scuff up the epoxy so that new epoxy will stick, but...
Also,
well,
we're both nauseous.
yeah, super nauseous.
Must have caught a bug or something.
Yeah. New day, long sleeve shirt today. I sanded up this morning. We're just getting it cleaned up, and we are going to try this again. The sun is out. It's earlier in the day, so it should be nice and warm. I think I have something in my eye. Maybe a lot of things in my eyes. And so we're hopeful that this is going to go much better than yesterday.
Yeah.
Emotionally preparing myself.
I think it's going to be great.
Okay, we're all wetted out. Making sure the epoxy gets all the way pushed in. Let's do it. I didn't turn the camera on. We're started and it's going a million times better than yesterday. I don't know if it's because we wetted it out better or because it's warmer or what it is, but we're 2 strips on and they just went on. Yay. I'm gonna be happy about it. I'm not gonna complain. I'm just gonna be happy.
This is how it should have gone. Once the epoxy gets just the slightest bit tacky, we can use a metal roller to laminate the carbon onto the foam. And just like it should have gone last time, this time it just works.
You scared me.
That is the end of the thick carbon. So now we're gonna go through and roll everything with the metal roller, smash it all down. You can really smash the kind of the frayed edges. You can smash the frayed edges down really well, get them all really flush, get them all flat and squished on, and make sure everything is nice and like, you know, a little bubble right there. So we'll get everything nice and laminated on real good, and then we'll put on the S-glass, which you can't even see because it disappears when it gets wet. So we'll put on S-glass, cover everything, and the S-glass isn't going to add any strength because it's, I mean, in comparison, it's like tissue paper compared to this carbon. It is just there to give a nice soft finish, nice smooth finish, which will make the kind of the final fairing and everything a lot nicer. So it'll end up like this. S-glass is just actually really nice fiberglass. So fiberglass is strong, not as strong as carbon. Well, that's debatable. But this S-glass that we have is just super, super thin. It's 4 ounce, which this carbon we're using is 400 gram. So there's some conversion in there that will tell you that this is thicker.
Finished piece. We'll just get it laid on nicely and eventually it'll look nice.
Roll it and it'll get all the bubbles out. We are in cleanup mode. We just decided this is the last big layup we're doing. So we're getting rid of our rollers because I don't think they can be cleaned again. Anyway, so it works out. So getting rid of this plastic, and it looks like we did pretty good not getting epoxy on anywhere that wasn't supposed to get epoxy. No, that's just water. Woo.
This lamp wasn't out though.
Zero joking.
It was.
Good job.
Thanks.
Done. All cleaned up. We're gonna get us cleaned up. Go get some pizza stuff for a little stay-at-home date night. Good night.
And that's it. The curves and B-pillars are completely covered in carbon and even now are connected.
Window frame time. We just got this all wetted out, let it get tacky. Same with our strips. So we are getting them laid up. We're just gonna do the starboard side first, make sure it all goes well, and then maybe that one later. One at a time, slowly but surely.
These thin carbon pieces like this, they just kind of feel like tuna skin.
Oh yeah.
They're all wet and like specifically at this consistency for the next 5 minutes.
A little bit slimy, a little bit tacky.
A little stiff, but still pretty flexible.
We drilled mounting holes as well as a wire run hole into the deck and got everything bolted down. With that all complete, we gave it a test and oh my goodness, is this thing strong. With our repaired grid structure that we completed years ago, and now with this tank of a hardtop, we might actually be able to remove the infamous label of Bendy Toy. Okay, now the hardtop structure is officially complete. Officially. Minus a couple little things like mounting tabs, drain hoses, light bars, etc. You get the idea. But structurally, done. And, at least so far, we could not be happier. So next, I think it's time we do a deep dive into solar, because while we have a lot, we still have more that we need to fit on this thing.
It looks exactly like our drawing.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please make sure you subscribe, and if you can, leave a comment or something, because it really does help the algorithm, and we all know that these days, the algorithm is boss.